I wanted to get back to work, obviously, and so it would have been exciting to make a film, in this period. Obviously, it had a lot of challenges, but this film in particular, was so rich. I mean, I thought I got the first 90 pages thinking that it was, three-quarters of the way through the film. So I was like, I wonder how they're going to wrap it up in 10, 20 pages, and not realizing that it was about halfway through the film, really, maybe just under halfway through the film, as we would get the pages in, after we started shooting. But there was something very truthful about it, about this relationship. I thought the relationship itself had a really it was very strong kind of romantic element to it. Yeah. That it felt very truthful to me, but I also was really rooting for these two people, to kind of figure it out. And it had that wonderful thing where you feel like you understand why they connect. Oftentimes I think you have characters that they're just declared to be together, and you can kind of see it and it half makes sense, but you don't really deeply understand what these two people would have found in each other under the normal circumstances of the kind of before times. And yet with this, you really did. It felt truthful. It felt honest. You could sense their relationship. You could sense why it was struggling, and you had a feeling of where it might be able to reconnect and they could figure their way through it. So there was all of these things, and it made me feel very kind of uplifted, by the story and hopeful. And then of course there's this kind of fantastical element to it as they go in search of this kind of crazy idea and what they do with that. And I just loved all of that. And I thought that working with, so that's Steve Knight's script, working with Doug Liman, who I'm a huge fan of, and Anne's, obviously, I'm a huge fan of Anne's as well. And so I thought, well, this is a great, group to get involved with. So that was my feeling about it.
Just with everything that Chiwetel said, I've wanted to work with Doug for so long. So just getting a call that Doug Liman's considering you for a film is just so exciting. And, and I've worked with Stephen Knight before, and so I was really excited to hear how he was interpreting the lockdown. But there's a scene where my character sort of explains a moment in her life where she's where she's hallucinating an interpretation of capitalism, which I know sounds insane because frankly it is. And the writing was so good and so meaty, and I just thought, God, I'd want to say those lines at any point in time. And then she concludes the entire monologue with, but to answer your original question, in addition to milk and eggs, we need bread and wine. And it just felt so 2020, the whole thing, the mess of it, the rawness, how unhinged she was, that opportunity to take stock of her life and this awareness that she was living a life that really had nothing to do with her. And she wasn't entirely sure how all that had happened. All of that felt very truthful and very worth exploring. Also, it was just great to be a part of a film that got people back to work. There's so many things that we have to heal. There's so many things we have to fix and get through and get back on its feet, and just getting people back to work is such an important one.